also belong to the more contemporary studies in the field of ethics by some contemporary Indian thinkers and philosophers. So, we should go with the pre-Vedic period. And it is a view of some philosopher that in India there were no such thing like Indian ethics were exist in the ancient Indian system. And they said that the culture and philosophy of West, especially of the Greek, is the primitive one. But here I would like to mention that a Western philosopher, a well-known Western philosopher, E.W. Hopkins, in his book Ethics of India, has clearly mentioned that Indian ethics is ancient, more ancient than the ethics of the Misr and the Greek. As you all know that in Western tradition, the philosophy of West, Misr philosophy and the Greek philosophy are known as the ancient cultures and philosophical traditions. But in Eastern tradition or the philosophy of the East, India and China are the two continent which are treated as the ancient in the Eastern tradition. But Hopkins are of the view that the Indian ethical concepts are much primitive and ancient than the Greek or the Misr culture, ethics of the Misr and ethics of the Greeks. And he has mentioned it clearly in his book, which is the Ethics of the India. And for this, he has very clearly mentioned that the four Vedas and Upanishads and which is the first stage of development of ethical views of India, there were a very clear distinction found in between the right and wrong conduct in injustice, and it was clearly mentioned in the pre-Vedic literature, which is not in the written form, because Veda till Veda was the written and found and are available. But there were sufficient evidences for the view that Indian ethics is prior and primitive than the Western ethics. And for the Vedic period, we find specific evidences and the notion of Rita, which is the well-known basic concept of ethics as developed in Indian continent. And for the evidence of this, we also can take into account the book written by Professor A.C. Bose, The Call of the Vedas, where he has clearly mentioned the concept of sixfold dharmas. And these sixfold dharmas includes in it dharma, the first is known as the trutha, second is known as the non-violence, third is known as the ethical order or simple order, and fourth is known as the austerity, tapa, fifth is known as the prayer, worship, and sixth is known as the rituals. These are the 6 components of sixfold dharma as clearly mentioned in the book Call of the Vedas written by Professor A.C. Bose, which is now out of print, but it is available in the library of DU as well as in BHU and so many other oldest established libraries of the philosophy. I don't know whether it is available in the ICPR, but I think there should be, this book should be available. But anyhow, the concept of Rita has its evidences in the Vedic mantras, Brahman Samhitas and Aranyakas, as well as throughout the 4 Vedas. And 4 Vedas, you well know that they are Rig Veda, which is the oldest Veda, and Rig Veda, Sam Veda, Athar Veda, and Yajur Veda. And Vedas also has 3 parts: Brahman, Aranyak, and Upanishad. Brahmana is known as the collection of the mantras. Aranyaka is the collection of those mantras which has been written and came into existence during the forest, during the living in the forest, and that is why they are known as the Aranyaka, which is Aranya means forest. So these are the collection of those mantras which has been written in the beneath of forest or in the depth of forest during living of the Vedic rishis and Vedic seers. And the Upanishads are the philosophical work or the philosophical, this portion of the Vedas is known as the philosophical portions which has the fundamental principles of all the branches of philosophy like metaphysics, epistemology, logic, ethics, and aesthetics also. We find roots of all these philosophical disciplines in the Vedas. And in Upanishads, when we said that the Vedic age we found sufficient evidences, we can mention, and for the example I would like to mention that during the Upanishad period, there was a clear distinction were made between the right and wrong, right actions as well as of the wrong actions. You can mention the shlokas which is known and you all are aware about, because in the early schooling we have heard and were taught these shlok, and some universities has been used this as a slogan of their institution. That is, Asato ma sadgamaya, Tamuso ma jyotirgamaya. Asato ma sadgamaya means we should go with the right path. And Tamso ma jyotirgamaya. And we should control over the darkness of ignorance and should be lighten not only ourselves but to the whole universe. And this is a specific example of which you can say the distinction found in the Vedic and Upanishadic tradition between the right conduct and the wrong conduct. Similarly, in the Kathopanishad, which is known as a principal Upanishad or comes and has been included by Shankaracharya, Acharya Shankaracharya, in the principal Upanishads. There we found the notion of Shreyas as well as of the prayers. Shrey and prayer. Shreya you can, there is no similar English word we find which have the similar depth. But we can translate Shreya as the ideal of the life. Highest ideal of the life. And prayers or the prayer is known whatever is pleasant. What gives us pleasure. So, in Kathopanishad, it is also mentioned that we should go for Shreyas. We should work for the Shreyas, which is in further elaboration as mentioned that it is the welfare of whole humanity. And we should also go for the prayers, but till the limitation that it should not hinder or create obstacles in the shreyas of the other human beings. This distinction between Shreya prayer is mentioned in Kathopanishad and in further another text of Indian ethics, Mahabharata, which is well known for its Shanti Parv, and Bhagavad Gita also, which is a part of Mahabharata. In the 59th and 29th segment, 29th shloka of the Shanti Parva, which is a part of Mahabharata, it has been described that the ancient source, or you can say the primary source of ethics is Brahman. Here is a doubt, and it is not a clear opinion on this, whether this notion of Brahma is the absolute concept of Brahman as in Shankar Vedanta, or it is an notion of God between the Trinitarian concept of God, Brahma, Vishnu, Mahesh. But anyhow, Brahman is called the primary source of Indian ethics, where he has clearly mentioned the idea of or the ideal of Samam Bonam, Purusharth Chatushtaya. This is also for your information that if someone asks you what is the source of Purusharth Chatushtaya, because in the Indian ethics, Purusharth Chatushtaya is the fundamental of ethical concepts, and this notion is firstly came into existence in the Mahabharata Shanti Parva. Although moksha and liberation, concept of moksha and liberation is already exists and discussed in the Vedas also. And the Trivarga, Dharma, Artha, Kama, that is also in various different contexts they have been discussed. But as a full-fledged theory of Samambonam, it is mentioned in the Mahabharata Shanti Parva, chapter 59, Shlok 29. That is also an authentic and written source. Kathopanishad is also available and is a written source. And all the Upanishads are available. Their literature is very well available for the verification of their evidences. Then it is to be noted that except the materialistic school of Indian philosophy, which is Charvaka, all other 8 systems, whether they are orthodox or heterodox, they all have accepted the notion of Sammam Bonam and has explained these ideas according to their own interpretation of the concept. Is it clear? Then the question arises, this I have discussed in relation to the primary evidences that in the pre-Vedic and the Vedic period, we have specific evidences for the opinion that Indian ethics is also as ancient or rather more ancient than the Western notion of ethics. And then we have to go with the third stage or the third period, which is known as the period of Sant Parampara. And this period we have the Sufism, we have Bhakti movement, Bhakti thinkers. So all the saints like Surdas, Kabir Das, Tulsi, and so many Sufi saints like Malik Muhammad Jaisi, etc. They have mentioned that there are a clear distinction between right and wrong, and all has suggested through their personal interpretation that if we have to obtain the ideal of the life, the Sammam Bonam or the highest good in life, then we should follow the tradition of right conduct and neglect or give up the wrong path. And they also mention in their teachings what is right and what is wrong, what we ought to do, what we ought not to do, what is our duty, what is in the difficult circumstances, what are the specific things which we ought to do and which we should avoid. So third period is of the Sant Parampara, which is also very rich in not only from the literature point of view, but also from the philosophical point of view. The Indian mystic thinkers and mystic philosophers have given a great contribution in the development of Indian ethics. And the texts of all these saints are also available in the world, in India also and in abroad also. Then comes the fourth period of Indian ethics, development of Indian ethics. which is known as the 19th century, which belongs to the 19th century development. And in this period, especially, we can mention the and philosophical studies, and is also available in the various libraries of India. So these thinkers have also developed further the notion of ethics in India and had tried to explain betterly, although their personal interpretation are involved, but they have carried further the Indian notion of ethics, Indian concepts of right and wrong, good and bad, concept of pap and punya, concept of heaven and hell, and concept of primarily duties, as well as of the rights of the individual as well as of the society. Ethics is the contemporary age we consider the works of Mahatma Gandhi, Vinoba Bhave, Jawaharlal Nehru, and some Muhammad Iqbal, as well, and we have also although purely philosophical, but if we go through the works of K.C. Bhattacharya, we also find the seeds of Indian ethics mentioned analysis and ethical views are also based on the notion of Indian ethics and the ideas of Indian philosophical systems. So this is the historical description of the period of in which Indian ethics has been progressed. And then another thing I would like to mention, that for your convenience, yesterday I had given you the names of two books, S.K. Mehta, Ethics of the Hindus, which is an important book for the Indian ethics, and in Hindi, दिवाकर पाठक की book भारतीय नीति शास्त्र. Today I would like to mention two more books which will help you to find the historical perspective of Indian ethics as well as of the philosophical perspective of Indian ethics.